Our kids are just far more intelligent. And I think we need to tap into that intelligence and begin to cultivate their world around the technology and how we can best have them lead a different lifestyle than we were able to have because they're more informed of what this world is really moving towards right now. Just sitting down with them like, hey, can you teach me how to do such and such? You would be surprised how they light up in being able to teach you something. We spend a lot of time trying to take technology out of things when we need to be embracing it and bringing it into the forefront.
You're listening to the smartsocial.com podcast, your trusted source for real-world tactics that keep students safe and help them to shine online. I'm your host, Josh Ochs. Each week, I sit down with K-12 superintendents, district leaders, and community voices who are shaping digital safety. We discuss wins, struggles, and strategies used to guide students so they can be safe and successful online.
Hi, I'm Sean Davenport, Superintendent, Harlem Community School District 5 in New York City. I have approximately 23 schools, around 6,000 students.
Superintendent, it's so great to have you here today. I love New York City. I love the hustle, the beep, 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 the steam coming out of the ground. I think everybody in Los Angeles or maybe nationwide just has this interesting view of it. And I see it as the grass is greener on the other side. I love it and spent some time there over the years and so grateful to have you on here today. Before we get started, Superintendent, I'd love to know, how did you start off in your educational journey? What type of teacher? And walk us through just really quickly. Tell us a little bit about your district.
So ironically, I was one of those students who hated school. And for me to even end up in education is... it's a big mystery. So I started teaching English in high school at the Bronx, Theodore Roosevelt High School. And I thought I was just passing through, and who knew? Next thing I know, I found myself in a district office working with the superintendent there in Harlem, where I'm the superintendent now. But I was also an assistant principal. I was a founder of an elementary school. I founded an elementary school with kindergarten and first grade. And I was lucky enough to have the distinction of graduating my kindergartners from elementary school. And then I traveled with them. We had a 6 to 12 school, same name. And I was their principal from middle school and high school. And so for 13 years, I was with the same group of kids. And then, I had additional students as well. But that was an amazing feat. And after that, one of my students said to me, I had an opportunity to take another position with our central office. And my student said, well, you graduated us. You've done your job. Go do something different. And I did. And then 4 years later after that, I come back and now I'm the superintendent of the district that I love so much and being in a community I love greatly, Harlem, New York.
Well, that's amazing. And, just like all of our superintendents, I can see you light up because that's where it starts, is working with the kids. And amazing, you raised those kids for 13 years. Yeah. You were their backup parent, trusted advisor, adult, and pouring into their life. They're going to go out and do great things. So what an honor, I'm sure. All right, Superintendent, I want to ask you some big questions. For our audience, that we're going to dive into some safety questions with the superintendent and dive into those decades of experience he has. Then we're going to get into some parent education, parent engagement questions, really. Other superintendents nationwide say that, Josh, if we can partner with parents, we can overcome anything. And so we're going to dive into that and ask the superintendent to teach us, give us insights. Then we're going to talk about dialogue starters. Spoiler alert, the superintendent and I think this is the number one safety app in the world, is having a rich dialogue with your kids, a trusted adult or guardian, having a great ongoing relationship. We're going to dive into those at the end, and you can steal some of our dialogue starters, parents, and protect your family. Superintendent, are you ready for this?
Yes, ready.
Here we go. Okay. Now, the first question I have for you, Superintendent, is after 230 plus of these conversations with your peers in 45 plus states, we're hearing a trend, and I'd love for you to set me straight. Tell me if it's different in Harlem. But we're hearing that students are growing up in a digital world filled with powerful technology, AI, and social media, but they're lacking sometimes the maturity and guidance to use it safely. The result is more student absences, sometimes lower focus, rising cyberbullying, declining self-esteem, and AI misuse in the classroom. And parents are telling us that they're trying to raise good kids in a world that they didn't grow up in, a world where tech is now moving faster than safety policies, a world where teens know how to hide apps and online behavior. They're so clever. And a world where now safety lessons usually come after a crisis. We've all heard the word whack-a-mole. Okay, what are we going to protect from next? We don't know what's coming up. Superintendent, are there any other trends on this topic that you have seen so we can alert other school districts before they see them?
I think you pretty much hit the trends that's happening right now. The one thing about kids is that if you know about it, you're already late. And they are clever enough to stay one step ahead of us. And I think right now the biggest trend that I do see is that they are able to take the littlest opportunity, the smallest opportunity, and find an avenue where they can communicate and relate to their friends outside of the bigger norms, right? So you may think you may have it with an app. Like by the time we get brought up to speed with an Instagram, they're onto something different. Or, we're on the TikTok, they found something else because we're all on it now. They don't want us in their world. And the funny part is we keep trying to be a part of their world. And I think that's the part of having those relationships with our kids comes in handy now, is that we need to be partners with them as well as parents, as well as, supervising, because they can teach us so much if they don't feel like we're invading or being evasive in their private lives. And I like the word you used at the beginning when you said misuse. But think about it, when we were their age, it was something that we were doing that our parents didn't like. And, this technology world is that we're so basic. The average adult is just very basic with technology and what's happening in the AI world, right? Our best bet is just saying, "Hey, Siri." And to us, that's something, or, you cry out Alexa or something that's AI for a lot of us. But our kids are just far more intelligent. And I think we need to tap into that intelligence and begin to cultivate their world around the technology and how we can best have them, I guess, lead a different lifestyle than we were able to have because they're more informed of what this world is really moving towards right now. And so I think we need to be more supportive and what they're doing and how they're doing it. And, and actually start to learn some of these different technology apps so that we can become, I guess, better educators, better parents. And we talked about that relationship, just sitting down with them like, "Hey, can you teach me how to do such and such?" You would be surprised how they light up in being able to teach you something, because we always act like we know everything anyway. But for them to be able to come in and teach us something, I think will help lead a lot of conversations. And then better yet, it would better position us to be better partners with them in schools. We can even do, more advanced curriculums around their interest points. And we spend a lot of time trying to take technology out of things when we need to be embracing it and bringing it into the forefront.
I love that. I take a lot of notes. I just learned a ton from you. I love it. And I want to bring up for our audience and superintendent, I want to get your advice on this. As we do our free parent events in the evening for all of our parents who are watching, parents ask us, we reach a couple million people a year. Parents ask us, "Hey, Josh, what advice would you give a student to help them recognize some of the red flags of a dangerous stranger online?" Right. And this is what the superintendent just mentioned, is that rich dialogue and being in their world. We can't say no to tech because they'll sneak around and chat with strangers. Well, rather than the superintendent and I giving you advice, let's hear from a real student about how she might help a friend recognize these red flags.
If I had a friend talking online to a stranger, I think that I would feel a little bit uncomfortable with the whole situation. I would advise against it because so many indirect issues can come from that, and it could cause something to be worse than if they had just unadded them in the first place. Some red flags that I would have to advise them to cut it off with this person or to stop engaging would be if the person starts to get very involved in their personal life and they seem to be very intrigued in what's going on with them and wanting to know all the little details about what they do and who they are, and just very personal details and things that you wouldn't normally share with a stranger in real life. If they're very persistent and constantly wanting to talk to my friend or constantly trying to be involved in their life or wanting to speak to them, I feel like that's kind of a red flag. Another thing would be if they ask them to ever meet them anywhere in person right from the start, if they feel a sense of being uncomfortable or their intuition is just saying it's wrong, or if my intuition is saying something feels wrong with this, then I think that's a major red flag.
Now, parents, remember, you can come to our free parent night events. You'll see there's weekly live parent events and replays. There are teen-led video lessons, as you can see in the middle of the screen. So real teens are teaching the program with us, like you just saw. And that means a lot of parents are actually bringing their teenagers in. They get less eye rolling when Smart Social teaches the latest safety apps. And then also there's a premium parent newsletter. There's giveaways, all kinds of other stuff. Parents, remember, we're here for you. So if you have questions, we have the world's best app guides because we have the world's best research team, real parents all over the country researching to give you TikTok app guides for parents, the best Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox, Netflix, WhatsApp, and 450 more. Not only in English, but also in Espanol, Mandarin, and 9 other languages. So 12 languages total. No one's left behind. We're here to save lives. Live events every single week. A lot of times it's twice a week. Sneaky ways video apps keep teens watching. We've got, you missed the 16th, you got the 23rd. We've got professional development, a lunch and learn in the middle. And then we've got an Espanol and AI and online bowling next month. Don't miss it, parents. A free, incredible whole program around anti-bullying so your kids can be a positive on-campus and at home presence in their friends' lives. And then also, we're put on the news, not because we're important, but because we have the latest and the best late breaking stuff to protect your family. Okay, we're back over to the program. Superintendent, I want to ask you the next question. In addition, with all these 230 plus conversations, 45 states, with your amazing peers who've given us some time so we can learn from them, we've heard from communities inside of their school district. We're hearing that many parents feel overwhelmed trying to keep up with fast moving online trends and digital safety risks. We're hearing that students are so clever because they find ways to increase their screen time, bend the rules, especially when the expectations at school differ significantly from those at home. My question for you is, what trends or pain points are you seeing when it comes to parent engagement? And where do you feel families are struggling the most to stay informed or connected?
That's a great question. I feel the biggest opponent is time. And, a lot of our parents are working parents. So when they're coming home, they're tired. They have to make dinner, they have to make sure things are right for the next day. They just have, just being overwhelmed with just life in general. And so taking a couple of minutes to have a conversation with your student or your child is very important. And I don't say that just to be saying it. I think about my own child who's grown now and the missed opportunities I had. I was always working. I was a principal. I was doing certain things. I expected the school to do many of the things that, I should have been doing myself. And, hindsight, you reflect and you have conversations with parents now, it's like, you had the child. You have to sit down and make that time. You really have to be involved. You really have to figure out what's happening. You have to ask the questions. You have to stay connected with the schools. As much as it may be a detriment at times, because you work and they want you to come in meetings when you need to be at work. I just think you have to find moments of connections with schools, whether it's via, social media or Zoom, just to know what's happening so that you know the right questions to ask your child. But most importantly, establish a relationship with the teachers. You really have to email those teachers. You have to, follow up with phone calls. You have to let them know that you care about your child. And I don't say that just to be saying like, parents don't care about their kids. I say that because the teacher needs to know that I'm dealing with this student I know whose mother's going to call me if this child doesn't get a good grade or if this, so I want to be more actively involved in supporting this student as well. And I think schools have to do a better job of finding ways to connect our families. I know in New York City, we have parent coordinators. And one of the things that I've been trying to do is engage our parent coordinators to have better skills, technology skills to reach out to parents. And that is, using certain AI tools to help craft your letters or give you ideas for engaging them in different areas, financial literacy workshops, just things that can support them with some of the issues that they may be having in their own households. When we're doing curriculum, how to go online and use an AI tool to see how you can support your child in math. There's several tools that can help you with phonics and reading so that your kids could get a head start. These are the things that we need to do to make our families feel more connected to what's going on in their children's lives.
Yeah, so well said. I just took a bunch of notes on what you did. And here's what I heard from you. I basically heard advocate for your child. Does that sound about right?
That's right.
What's another way that we can advocate for our child?
The child needs to know that no matter what, you support them. Not if they're doing anything wrong, but you still support them. And the way you're going to show that support is you're going to be an active parent. I may not be able to go to the parent-teachers conference, but I'm going to email that teacher. I'm going to call that teacher. I want to have that conversation so I can say I can best support you and what your goals are and ensure that you're reaching those goals. And then more importantly, sit down and really have a conversation with your student about what are their goals. We put so much on the school, but on the back end, we really need to know what's going on in our kids' lives. And I missed the boat on that. I'll be the first one to tell you. I could have done a better job as a parent in finding out what my child's interest was in school. I just took the, it was good. I did so-and-so. It was well, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know my child was really good in marketing when he was in school. And he was good on he didn't do that stuff in front of me. And I was they would tell me, oh, no, he's really good. And so I'm like, he doesn't like that. He likes such and such, I was totally off. And I misguided certain things with him because I wasn't as active, believe it or not, in his day-to-day school life as I should have been. And I want parents to know that it's okay to be that parent. What I mean by that parent is where a teacher or a principal, here comes that parent again. They'll always be that parent, right? Be the one that, you need to know what's going on. You need to know what's happening because that is your child. They only have one life. We need to make sure that we're giving them the best opportunities possible.
Also, you're inspiring other parents to be that parent too, to be active and volunteering and stuff. I love your vulnerability because it happens to most parents, right? We're busy. We got to put food on the table and shelter over the kid's head, right?
Right.
Yeah, I love your vulnerability. I'm grateful for it. Okay, for our audience right now, this month is all about sneaky ways video apps keep teens watching. Come to one of our free live parent evening events. They're world class. There's giveaways. We're going to give you a teaser of this and get the superintendent's input on it, but there's giveaways. So we are giving away each week a Kindle or a Bluetooth speaker or a 3D printer. Shout out to the family that won a 3D printer last week. That's exciting for their kid. So the goal is to understand the subtle ways video apps keep teens captivated. And as a family, we learn strategies to help them balance screen time. Really cool program, very fast paced. Now, people ask us in this program all over the country, Josh, what are some tips to help my teen manage their screen time? Again, rather than us teaching your family, let's hear from two teens with tips on how to reset screen time. If you come to this event, parents, you'll hear from real teens teaching the program. Here we go.
I just try to hold myself accountable about how much time I'm spending, because you can get lost really easily. While you're doing it, you think 30-second videos, what's the harm in that? But then when you've lost 4 hours out of your day, you feel a lot of regret. Why would I spend 5 hours scrolling on this app before bed when I could have been getting more sleep or being more productive throughout my day? My mom, she always lets me know when I'm just dead scrolling on TikTok for hours. Like, she usually tells me how long it's been. You should probably get up and go do the things that you need to do. So besides holding yourself accountable, it's really helpful if you have a parent or someone that cares about you to hold you accountable for how much time you're losing on those video apps.
Some techniques I use to stop myself from getting sucked into social media is being very aware of why I'm on there, as well as understanding how it's addictive. Even though it can be fun to just sit on my phone and scroll or immerse myself in it, keeping in mind the things I need to do and setting aside the time to do that rather than falling into it like a trap.
All right. These teens are awesome. They give real tips and ideas. And parents, believe it or not, the expert is in your house. They're your kids. And we want to give you a couple tips that you can open those experts up and teach and have a rich dialogue. So here's some questions you can steal and run with. Please screenshot this, parents, and run with it. You can ask your teen these questions in the car ride to school, on the way home from school, a dinner table, wherever you want. And you don't have to do this perfectly. Just memorize one and make it your own, adapt it. But it'll open up a conversation. It'll help your whole family to evaluate the quality of our screen time together. Now, you could ask, how do you feel after your screen time? Notice how this isn't a yes or no question. Like, were you on your screen today more than an hour or not? Because yes or no's are easy to answer. The who, what, where, when, how are harder. How do you feel after your screen time? Does that app or activity make you feel stronger or weaker after an hour? What? Well, that's interesting. They have to think. And then what screen time or activities make you feel stronger? Well, I don't know. Maybe when I'm watching YouTube videos about gardening because I kind of like that. Really? Now you're diving into your kid's life. What activities make you feel more focused and relaxed? Well, it's not when I'm on TikTok for 2 hours. It's typically when I'm doing this, or we went on that road trip, or you could open your child up. And then the last one, let your child lead here. How much time do you think is healthy? And they might go, well, yeah, after an hour on TikTok, I'm not doing so good. So maybe, and then they get to be the one that sets the standard. Superintendent, what are your parent engagement or dialogue starter strategies that you would recommend to parents?
I would simply ask them, what did you learn today while you were on your screen time? Tell me something that I may not know. And on top of that, I would also say, I read or I saw on screen such and such. Can you go and show me how to look that up and support me with it? I want to be engaging with them as well. But most importantly, though, if you're on screen for an hour, so tell me, what did you see? What was so important? And also, we have to recognize too, Josh, that we're on the screen time when they are at home. If you think about it, I have to catch myself sometimes when I'm at the restaurant and we're out and I'm on my phone, my son's on his phone. I'm like, we're right across from each other. Let me put the phone down and have a conversation. And it's just that simple. And really having these conversations with our students, we often try to find out what they're interested in. And you want to be a part of that. And the same thing as a parent, you want to find out what they're interested in and you want to avail yourself to their lifestyle, to what they're learning and what they're doing. And then you want to engage them in those conversations as well. But most importantly, though, I like to point out how much time was wasted if nothing valuable came out of it and what could have been done during that time. And so that's my trend when I'm having conversation with students now. So if you wasted an hour or used an hour looking at TikTok videos or YouTube videos and nothing productive came out of it, then what could you have done in place of that? And so that's one of the trends I started to have with conversations around how do we engage our young people with the screen time. And it's also with adults. If I'm looking at it, are you just looking at it for pure entertainment? Then why are you upset with them looking at it for pure entertainment? If we're not engaging them in something else, they're going to find something to engage themselves in and occupy their time.
Yeah, such a great tip. I've taken so many notes. Superintendent, you took time out of your valuable, busy day to be with us. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful, and much success to you and your program. And you're doing amazing things. And I'm just happy you were able to take time to spend with me today.
Thank you, Superintendent. For all of our parents, remember, it's all about keeping your kiddos safe so they can be successful online. And here's what that looks like. It means shining online. Literally, a trademark of our company is to teach your kids how to put good things in the world at school, eventually after the age of 16 online. So their new resume becomes also blended in with Google and everything else. They become the same person in real life as they are online. Their projects and portfolio and passion projects become something online that employers and colleges go, wow, this is a great candidate. We need to get this candidate on here. Parents, one last pro tip. Whenever you're posting, try and make it light, bright, and polite so your kids can learn from what you're doing, because they model our behavior and how we behave, whether we know it or not. I'm Josh Ochs, the founder of SmartSocial.com, here to protect your family. Thank you to everybody and all the superintendents and to our incredible team at Smart Social for doing their research. We'll see all of you on the next episode. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks for spending time with the SmartSocial.com podcast. If today's insights were useful, please share the episode with a fellow parent or educator and subscribe so you never miss our next conversation. And parents, make sure to join one of our next live online events each week to keep your family safe and also enter for a chance to win cool prizes. You can learn more at smartsocial.com. I'm your host, Josh Ochs, and parents, remember to keep it light, bright, and polite because your kids are watching what you're doing online. I'll see you on the next episode.